Welcome to OWAD today. I'm Sophia, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring classical China era character. Today's character, Shi. I here intentionally retained last episode character, Wu soil. And here I translate Shi as sir. Um, I don't exactly know what English sir is. Apparently, in British, sir is a special title, but in everyday language as well, like people just address madam, sir. So basically, it's a gender label, respectful way to address people. So, 是 in today's China, we have 战士 like soldier. But we don't really use that character alone that much. Mostly this character 是 occur in classical literature related to the stories or the societal structure of the classical China era. Basically, 是 is a part of the ruling apparatus back then that the tip of this hierarchy, the king or the emperor, under him, there are layers of government officials. So 是 is the class that kind of forms almost like the foundation of the ruling class. Ruling class means they don't have to, they're paid by the government. They don't have to earn a living otherwise. They don't have to have their own trade, so to speak, to make a living. So they're part of this ruling class and regarded below Qing. Qing is probably, if we just roughly divide the ruling class into two bigger buckets, Qing is higher level officials. That's probably have the chance to interface with the king or the emperor himself. Versus Shi is probably more grounded. They have a bigger number, so they are more to the people, interfacing with the people more. So how do Chinese express Shi? It looks almost like Tu, the soil symbol. Two horizontal lines, one vertical line, and the vertical line end exactly at the bottom horizontal line. So same structure, except that the two of them got reversed. The lengths of the horizontal lines got reversed. I don't want to repeat what these two to explain two, but this 是 basically the ground in the soil is the first horizontal line versus in the 是 character, the ground is the second horizontal line. And there is no underground portion here. So if we regard the bottom as the ground, and then on the top, there is this cross on top of it. So Chinese doesn't really have crucifixion. I guess crucifixion, I'm not sure if it's an ancient punishment. There's a whole gamut of punishment in ancient times. Not sure if a crucifixion is part of it, but definitely it doesn't have the Christianity symbolism in Chinese culture. So this cross in by itself, take out the bottom horizontal line means number 10. It came from the ancient roping technology as the record keeping. You tie a knot whenever you hit number 10 because we have 10 fingers to signify all 10 numbers. And then we run out of fingers, right? When we reach 10, it becomes a different record making. So we tie a knot in the back then. So that number 10 is probably maxed out our 10 fingers. And so in our understanding, like a quantification of the world from 1 to 10, it's almost like from minimum to maximum, right? So the bottom, you can view it as the ground, or you can view it as just number 1, because Chinese number 1, 2, 3 is 1, 2, 3 lines, as simple as that. So if if we see this cross as a Chinese number 10, then the bottom is Chinese number 1. Then that's from 1 to 10. And that almost means from the smallest single digit number to, I guess, the smallest the double digit number. So that 1 to 10 give you a numerical sense to describe a type of human. So what type of human? Okay, that means that this human is a fully grown, fully developed. It's not a school kid. It's not like a partially understanding world. It's fully educated, fully capable, fully independent running, independently running, meaning not under anybody else's guardian watch anymore. So this 是 then can be qualified to be used by the ruling class, to be incorporated into the ruling class through certain examination. So there are a ton of like historical applications of what's regarded to 是. Probably at the beginning, it came from the wartime use of such able-bodied, full-grown man. So in wartime as a warrior, because they have to defend the ruling class, right? Defend the regime. In peacetime, then they became educated, they can communicate, they probably, I'm not sure about public speaking, but at least they have to be illiterate. So depend on the era or the use, the utility of this biggest body of the ruling apparatus that depends on the peace or wartime, then their application, their main function, their main, I guess, purpose would shift. So 是, then in Chinese, if I translate to sir, I guess that's my rough, also because the pronunciation probably kind of similar, helps memorization. But basically, it's fully capable grown man. And in Chinese historical context, it's the lower rank official. A few examples of how it's used. 壮士, 壮 means strong, muscular. Okay, 壮士 simply means fully muscular, developed man, mostly used in context of this is a warrior. Like you don't want to mess up with 壮士, okay? And it's also kind of a courteous addressing of the people. Maybe it's between the adversaries or between strangers that you encounter and you kind of recognize the other person is muscular. You don't want to mess with them and you address without knowing their name, just generic name, kind of like a sir, right? English serves as this generic respectful term to the other party. Then you address them as a 壮士, something like that. Okay, 烈士. 烈士 is after that 壮士, after that person died, and this is kind of a martyr imagery created by somebody else. So it's not your own story. It's not your story. It is somebody after you passed away package a story to say you are 烈士. When I grew up, lots of 烈士 in the Chinese context to address that people who sacrifice their lives for the benefits of the later generation, and those are regarded as 烈士, I guess, as not as veterans, but as patrons, probably equivalent of English patriots, but who sacrifice their lives. So 烈士, 烈 in Chinese, we have this 4 dots at the bottom. That means fire burning. So it's related to temperature, related to even cooking, something about meat over there. So that means it's pretty violence involved. And they are basically the government recognized martyrs for the country, or I guess martyrs in English is specifically like a more religious martyr, but this 烈士 is more equivalent to patriots, to veterans who give up, who give their lives for the country. Okay, 有识之士, 有识 with learning, means people who are well educated. 知识. So 知 is English equivalent of, but of course the sequence of describing versus describe be are reversed. So it would be correctly translated as sir or person of with learning. So the way to define this person in English, if we connect with the of, the descriptor is after the of, right? The noun of and something to describe that. But Chinese, we put the 之 in here. We put the descriptor in front of. So even if the 之 serves as of, but the sequence is reversed. So 有识之士 simply describe people who come with learning. So you can basically trust their judgment. So this is mostly in public discourse. The general public would regard the voices of reason would address those people as 有识之士. Okay, so here simply when I search sir on Unsplash on one of those old photos, and I guess it's kind of generic. You don't really know the profession. It could be somebody in military, or it could be somebody in civilian service, civic service. So you don't really know. But in Chinese, this is 士 also historical serve different functions. In war and peace times, this 士 is the foundation of the stability of this ruling class apparatus. Then I guess they deserve a certain respect. And that's the Chinese 是 sir equivalent in Chinese. All right. Thank you very much for your time. See you another day.